Clevitus is the most powerful demon king who despises all of mankind. But as fate would have it, in his conquest to exterminate the human race, a mere baby melts his heart and he ends up adopting the child as his own. Now he must hide his true powers and pretend to be an ordinary loser to live in the human world. As the series starts, a girl follows her father to the farm, and after they are done, he calls her to follow him back home. She looks around the house. She looks at the map of Ethia and sees that right after the map there are dark places, very dark, just their continent and dark places. She wonders why. As a very curious girl, she looks at her father and asks what is beyond their city, a question that her father himself cannot answer. He knows she is curious and indeed wants to give her an answer, but he can't. Why? Because he doesn't know too. He reveals to her that every human, just like her, was born curious. They wanted to know more. However, every attempt they have made to enter that dark place has ended in destruction. He tells her that in those dark places there are 4 demons. These demons are guarding the west, east, north, and south of Ethia, and all the teams they have sent to try to find out what is beyond them have been annihilated, killed. She is shocked. Does this mean it is really bad? She wonders. This doesn't change anything for her. Her father tells her that until the demons are killed, there is no way they can find out what is going on there. Every problem should have a solution. What then is the solution to this one? He further explains to her that there are treasures that heroes use to fight. Only heroes who have these treasure swords can fight these demons, and until they find the hero, they cannot win. This gets her more excited. She wants to be a hero. She wants to fight. It is the sword of Haydn, and if she gets it, she can fight. And when they win, they can see the world beyond their map and know what is in the dark places. Several years pass by. Our Alicia is no longer a child. She is indeed part of the heroes that have been chosen. She closes her eyes and opens them in the cart that is driving them to the outskirts of the city. She holds the chain on her neck, telling her father that the time is here. The time is here to fight for her city. She isn't going on this trip alone. There are several other heroes who are on this trip too. As the journey goes on, they start a conversation and start introducing themselves. There are some notable people among them. Minal, whose treasure is Ogankyo, who claims he doesn't know where he is from. They look at Alicia and ask her to introduce herself. They are shocked that there is a woman among them and she doesn't bother to introduce herself at all. They get nearer to the outskirts, and another member, Stefan, whose treasure is Tenma, warns them that they are near. They whisper among themselves that he is the strongest there. Suddenly, the carrier stops and the driver tells them that the carriage cannot go nearer to the place again. They all prepare to come down, but they haven't even landed when the demons start attacking them. Indeed, a few of them die from the carriage, and Stefan screams to all of them to come out and fight. They troop out and he divides their squad into groups. The archers and the lancers get into action, and he tells the others that he will pair with Alicia to fight the leftover ones. And yes, Alicia has the Iwatabame's treasure. She joins Stefan and they fight through. She is strong, charismatic, but what's more to note about her is that she is very conscious of her environment. On the mount in front of them is one of the demon lords. He speaks about the world of chaos. He admits that the world is born of chaos, but if that is true then he is also born of chaos. He may be right. As the war continues, all the heroes jump through the mounts and hills until they get to the top of the mountain. Stefan is excited. He has been declared the most intelligent, and it is just fair he asks the name. He tells them that that day is the day they will be declared as strong people, and they must show the people that chose them that they are strong enough. As they reach Mount Moon, the demon lord comes out. He looks amazing, if that is the right word for it. His white fluffy skin, his look, it is terrifying. He is Clevitus of the southern moonlight. Stefan is pushed back. He admits that what is in front of him is terrifying. However, they are commissioned for this. They are backed up. They are heroes, and together they will make the legend come true. As he urges himself to fight, he is attacked by Clevitus from afar. Clevitus pushes him to the wall and kills him. Everyone is shocked because Clevitus didn't even come near them. One hero takes the initiative to lead and encourages others to fight, but Alicia takes her time to consider the environment. As the heroes get nearer to Clevitus, he kills them all without even leaving where he is standing. Alicia eventually realizes what has happened. She screams to the others that Clevitus is attacking them from his shadows. If they want to survive, they have to run away from his shadows. They wonder how they will do that, but Alicia starts jumping. She jumps through the mountain and runs. Indeed, the shadow gets nearer to her and she is the first hero who sees the attack before it hits and fights it. Clevitus's eyes shine in shock. Maybe this will be more difficult than the adventurers he had fought earlier. He doesn't care, but it piques his interest. This is humanity, the human race. He hasn't been conversant with the human race for about 1,000 years, but from what he knew about them before, they are meant to be weak as insects. But what he is seeing right now, they have strength, they have a mission, they are determined. He doesn't know what they have that is making them this strong and determined, but for him to know what is pushing them, he has to find out. All the heroes fight against him and he kills them all. Unfortunately, the last person that he kills is Alicia. She flies to the sky and closes her eyes to death. She apologizes to her father and tells him that she was unable to get her dream into reality. Well, not every dream comes true, and unfortunately hers is one of the ones that wouldn't come true. At capital Hydelart, the capital city of Haydn Kingdom, the people in the city go through their lives as usual without knowing that there is something coming against them. Unfortunately, Clevitus comes at them. He erupts from the mountain in front of the city and everyone is scared, but Clevitus is just intrigued. He doesn't care for them. He just wants to know what they are up to. He recalls that the people that attacked his territory claimed they were heroes and they were sent by the king of Haydn. So his plan is to fight through everyone around him and get to the king. The villagers are scared. They all start running away while the knights get into action. They bring their archers and attack him. He doesn't attack them in return. Instead, he flies through all the roofs so he can get himself to the palace and see what their driving force is. The knights increase the securities at the palace gate and send several arrows at him. However, they cannot even reach him. He looks at all their attacks and puts his mind at rest. They aren't as strong as he thought they were. They are still weak, and their attacks cannot do anything to him. He throws one of his hands at the wall, and somewhat alike to the wall of Jericho, the wall falls down. The knights realize that it is beyond their control, so one of them runs to inform the king that a demon has attacked them. The king doesn't look shocked. For a demon to attack them, it means just one thing: the heroes have failed. He stands up from his seat and walks. He has just one thing to protect, which is the blade of Haydn, Mana Hydelart. Another knight comes to tell him that a demon is in the city and it is unstoppable, so the king has to hide. Indeed, if the demon is unstoppable, then there is no reason why he should run, because no matter how far he runs, the demon will always get to him. The knights keep doing their thing and sending fires and arrows against Clevitus. He knows that nothing they do will affect him, but it is strong. He recalls the sword that Alicia had used to attack him and how it affected him a little bit. It means if humans are left alone, they can get stronger and attack him. He doesn't get nearer to the human territory, but they want his territory, which is enough reason for him to attack them. The king goes nearer to the door to protect the blade, but as he opens it, Clevitus comes out. Judging by the accessories and everything around him, Clevitus doesn't need any more information to convince him that he is the king. He affirms that the man is the king and speaks in the human language, which gets the king shocked. He says that a demon isn't meant to speak human language and asks how Clevitus could speak in their language. The king recognizes who Clevitus is, but Clevitus tells him that he is the only one who has the ability to save humanity. He only has a few questions to ask, and the answers that the king gives to those questions will determine if all humanity will be destroyed or saved. By all humanity, he doesn't mean just the people of Haydn, but also the people of Duns, Orgites, Sladens, and Benti. His question is quite simple. Who are they? What is their character? What is their driving force? And why are they attacking the demon kingdom? The king doesn't see a reason to give an account to a demon. He says he won't answer those questions, and Clevitus doesn't even ask a second time before he cuts off his head. Clevitus walks away from there, assuming that humans are threats to him, so he must destroy them. He says that for him to destroy the entire humanity, he needs a team to work with. He has to take his time to build one. As he walks away, a baby with a dying mother cries loudly. The mother holds him with her last strength, and Clevitus hears his cry and walks nearer to him. Seeing it's a human baby, he barely cares. However, the mother speaks to him. She begs him to please save the child. That gets him shocked. Can't she see who she is begging? She is begging the real source of their issue. He reminds her that he is out to destroy humanity, and if she wants someone to blame for the child's death, she should blame the child for being born as human. The dying woman speaks in her defense. She insists that a child doesn't have an opportunity to choose what he wants to be born as. He doesn't care. He, however, tells her that if she wants him to save the child, she should prove to him why he should. She reminds him that she is dying. She can't prove to him that he is worth it. However, she is sure the child will prove his worth when he is old. With this, she gives up the ghost. He picks up the child. He isn't convinced, but since she claims the child will prove his worth, it doesn't take him so much time to watch a human grow, so he will watch and see what the child grows to be. Meanwhile, in this massive kingdom, there are 5 human races in this world made up of Duns who have the highest numbers. The Orgites, who are very brave with horns on their heads. Next are the Sladens, who are basically introverts and don't like talking with the other races. Next, the Benti, who look a lot like demonic bandits but are really powerful. Finally, the Hydanians, who look a lot like humans and are the smallest of all races. As expected, They are also the wisest race with the capabilities to make weapons from arcanicite. However, the royal family is the only ones with the secret technique to do this. Since their wisdom is all they have to offer, they have been selling these weapons to the Duns race. These transactions have gone on to cause the two races to embark on some plot development adventures together, giving rise to mixed breeds. Even with this, there are a very few pure Hydonians. Outside the massive kingdom which these races inhabit, there exist wild-looking dark beasts, with 9 tails like Kurama in Naruto. Meanwhile, somewhere in the depths of the Luna Mountains, the 9-tailed massive beast, Clevitus, fends off some smaller beasts who were just about to devour the baby. Scared, the baby starts crying and Clevitus is worried that the baby would soon hit its expiry date. He wraps himself around it and wonders what he could do to silence this loud mouth. Briefly, he places the tip of one of his nails on the baby's head and it falls asleep. While looking at the baby, Clevitus imagines that it would soon drop a poop bomb. As expected, shortly after, the baby wakes up and starts crying again. This pisses him off, but he carries the baby away to find a solution. The only solution he could find is to throw the baby in a pit. Calm down. It's not the kind of pit you're thinking about. It's just one filled with bugs. Well, not the harmful kind of bugs, but the ones who feed on poop. While the bugs enjoy their dinner, Clevitus reveals his dumb belief that humans grow up in a few nights. He is reminded of where he had found the child, and is completely clueless as to who the child is. He blames his good heart for turning around to pick up the child. But enough regrets. What would he do with the child? Unfortunately, his pride as the Lord of Dark Beasts makes him not consider returning the child and is determined to raise the child. However, he can't do this alone since the child has got to feed and he has no knowledge of how humans operate. Looking at the lifeless bodies he had just acquired, he picks out a woman named Alicia to bring back to life. Apparently her father had been killed by dark beasts, and in a misguided passion for revenge, she led an army to attack the Lord of Dark Beasts. This only ended in tears. However, she fortunately has a second chance at life. Upon her resurrection, she tries to attack Clevitus, but realizes that her sword and all the bodies of her comrades have been thrown away. He proudly claims that he had revived her with his dark powers, which makes her nothing but a walking dead. She seems like a good-looking zombie. After receiving this information, she is dumbfounded. With her mouth wide open, she wonders how he can speak human language so fluently, but is somewhat pleased to be the only survivor. Not exactly. Just then, Clevitus orders her to reveal her oranges. Hearing this, she thinks so highly of herself and is appalled by the Lord of Dark Beasts' advances. However, before her naughty thoughts could get wild any further, he informs her about the hungry baby and orders her to take off her armor and bring out her oranges immediately. Since he had infused some dark magic in her, she had no choice but to reveal the oranges. Slowly, she grudgingly pulls her top up and eventually does as she has been ordered. After reluctantly doing so, he is shocked to find out that she has no milk. This is very much expected from the baddie with no workout experience. Just so he knows, she educates Clevitus on the need for a woman to have given birth before she can have milk. The shame of showing off her oranges makes her feel very embarrassed and she begs him to kill her, but he ignores her pleas. While the two go back and forth, the baby starts crying again. Instead of finding a solution, the two engage in useless chatter on how he found the human baby. Tired of these small talks, Clevitus insists that she comes up with a solution for the child's hunger. Even though she has no idea on raising a child, she is forced to reveal that he would need a woman with milk to feed the child. Now the question arises, how would they get one? In answer to that, Alicia reveals that they would have to hire one, but would need some money to do so. Being so broke, Clevitus doesn't have any cash, but with the abundance of arcanicite in the cave, they could rake in a lot of cash. Elon Musk would need to take some notes. While he ponders on this option, Alicia considers attacking him, but since she wasn't with her sword, she had no choice but to remain still. After a brief moment of contemplating, Clevitus agrees that they get someone with milk to feed the baby. He is about to step out when she informs him that it is impossible to go into the town in his current form. Looking at how large he is, he would end up scaring everyone they come across. After first, he offers to take the baby into town herself and find a mother for it. However, Clevitus doesn't consider this option since he doesn't want the baby to go out of his sight. Instead, he transforms into a human boy. As much as his disguise seemed convincing, his 9 tails still kept on wagging behind him with a little horn in his head. He ends up retracting the tails into a shadowy opening underneath him. Even with this, the horn remains visible, but he doesn't seem to have an idea about it, and Alicia decides to keep her mouth shut. Before heading out, he thinks of a name for himself and the child, and comes up with Clen for himself and Luna for the child. Only at that moment does he seek to know Alicia's name, and she reveals it to him. After that, they head out to a small river. On arrival, Alicia assumes responsibility of bathing the child. While doing so, he gets interrupted by Clen but continues, only to be rewarded with some pee on her face. Clen basically criticizes everything she does like an annoying mother-in-law, from how she cleans the child to how she wraps himself up and specifying places she should focus on while cleaning him up. After cleaning up the child, he is very excited. However, Clen believes that the poop-eating bugs did a better job at cleaning than Alicia. The two arrive at Alicia's camp and find it empty. However, she reveals that they had kept all their valuables somewhere else. Before they proceed to that place, Clen orders her to have her bath since she reeked like a contestant, aiming for the Guinness World Record for the longest day with having a bath. Also, he hands her the clothes used to wrap the child to wash, and while doing so, she discovers that it has the crest of the Hydanian royal family. Immediately, she figures out that this child is royalty. Meanwhile, in the rumbles of the castle, a soldier comes running to find any survivors, but is baffled by the sight of how much damage the Dark Lord had done. The sight of this reminds him of the Crown Princess's plan to flee the kingdom with her child before the havoc. He blames the king's madness for the kingdom's destruction, but hopes to find at least one survivor. On the other hand, General Drell and some of his men look upon what remains of the Hydanians' kingdom. He orders one of his men to inform the emperor about this, warning that if they don't act fast to take the Hydanian land another race will. His main reason for wanting them to take Hydan is the secret of arcanocite crafting, which only the Hydanian royal family knows. So while he returns to rally his soldiers, he instructs his second-in-command, Maynard, to search for any survivors with royal blood and make sure to bring them to him. Elsewhere, Alicia confronts Clen with the crested cloth and accuses him of kidnapping a child with royal blood. Hearing her say this, Clen is as surprised as he is shocked. He reveals that he had been entrusted with the child by someone who has the exact human form he has chosen. Even though Alicia strongly believes that he is lying, he shuts her nagging mouth up and reveals that he had killed the king for attacking him first. However, he expects that a lot of people would be looking for the child to get the secret for crafting arcanocite. Pleased at the revelation of the royal child, he is determined to make the child king, in hopes that he would get to dictate how things happen from the shadows. The fact that he regards the child as his servant scares Alicia, who watches in fear. Hearing him say this, Alicia wonders if she hasn't made things worse by revealing the child's true identity. Meanwhile, Clen asks that they hurry up with finding a woman with milk in order to fill up the child's belly. While they leave, Alicia tries to calm herself with the thought that it would be impossible for humans to accept Clen with the horn on his head. However, she forgets the fact that Orgites have similar horns that could make Clen acceptable, although she strongly believes that the humans would figure him out and destroy his plans before it even starts. On the other hand, she has come to realize how obsessed Clen is with Luna and believes that Luna's death or disappearance could spell doom for the entire human race. With this in mind, she makes it her new point of duty to make sure no harm comes to Luna. On their way, some bandits attack and hit Clen on the head, first when Alicia realizes that they are just bandits. He assumes that they would be easy prey for the powerful Lord of Dark Beasts. Unfortunately, Clen falls to the ground after getting hit and even starts bleeding profusely. Watching this happen, Alicia screams like a little girl and ends up getting hit at the back of her head, causing her to pass out. She is shocked that even with Clevitus's dark power in her, she is this weak. A while after, Alicia wakes up in the bandits' carriage, where many other captives are sitting beside Clen. Clen is holding the baby Luna with a calm grin, which worries Alicia more as she doesn't know what's going on. She notices Luna sleeping and asks Clen how he managed to calm him. Clen explains that Luna was crying moments ago, but it's all fine now since the ride is a smooth journey. Luna moves through the other captives to get closer to Clen and whispers to him asking why he, one of the strongest demon kings to have ever lived, willingly got caught. She thinks that by changing his appearance, Clen's strength has also been reduced, which is why he got knocked out in one shot. Clen states that her assumption is close, but not quite right. He explains that the way he changed his appearance also made his body as fragile as a human's, which he didn't know. That's why when he was hit from behind by surprise, he got knocked out. So essentially, Clen's natural defense system is now weak, but using his powers, he can make it stronger. Then the question is, why hasn't Clen tried to escape this mess yet? Clen's reasoning is that since he is now disguised as a human, he plans to keep his true powers hidden until Luna becomes the next king. That's why he is letting the current events play out as they are. Moreover, Clen wishes to learn more about the human world, including why these poor people have been abducted, and that's why he's chosen not to escape. Realizing how clueless Clen is about everything, Alicia explains to his dumb ass that they and the others were captured by bandits who are most likely planning to sell them to slave traders. In any case, Alicia requests Clen not to judge humans based on how bandits behave, claiming that bandits are the worst among them. Shortly after, The carriage arrives at the bandits' base and the captives are divided into two groups, one with males and the other with women and children. One of the captives makes a run for it, to which the bandit executive Dagon literally smiles, knowing this fool just made a death wish. Rightfully so, as seconds later, another bandit throws a dagger at the running captive, stabbing him through the back and ending his misery. With the miscreant gone for good, Dagon warns every one of the fresh captives not to make the same mistake because if they do, they too will face the same fate. He then turns to Alicia, telling her to come with him. Before she can answer, he starts dragging her away to his room with the goal of uncovering her plot. Clen wonders what he should do when a woman named Carm, who I'm guessing is in charge of the women and babies department of this human trafficking gang, notices him standing still. Seeing that he has a newborn in his arms, Carm calls her servant Neru to take care of Luna. Neru's job here is to nurse the babies that get captured. The bandit's base is in a quarry, and deep inside the pit is a pool of water, where at the very bottom lies a legendary red blade. But the blade is being protected by something monstrously strong. Anyway, it seems I misjudged Dagon's character because it's revealed that he only brought Alicia to Broko. Broko is the acting leader of the bandit gang Crows in the absence of their real boss, Jazak. Broko apparently usurped the position as the boss of the Crows, but no one dares protest because of his pet beast, Betty, that can literally shred anyone to pieces. Alicia recognizes this beast as a Western demon and is surprised to learn that Broko has managed to tame it. Broko communicates with Betty, and Betty tells him she wants to play with a male human, so Broko tells her to feel free to choose one of the two bandits who came here with Alicia. But before that, he reveals why he brought Alicia to his office. The bandits, of course, have all the magic crystals Alicia collected from Clean's base. Broko also knows that these crystals are from Mount Moon, the lair of Clevitus. Judging from the evidence and the fact that Alicia didn't wet herself at the sight of Betty, he concludes that she is one of the 13 heroes sent from Haydn to slay Clevitus. Broko assumes Alicia was on her way back to Haydn with that bag full of magic crystals, so he drops the bad news. The royal capital has already been destroyed by Clevitus. However, he claims this isn't exactly bad news for the Crows, revealing that he has a reddish blade, the Mana Heidlart sword that only Haydn royalty knows how to make. Broko's sword, of course, is a fake, and his gang sells these fakes to people dumb enough not to know the difference. Now that the entire royal family has logged out of this world permanently, the prices of Mana Heidlart swords will skyrocket. This is a great way to make money, but Broko is interested in something more, the purest of the Heidlart swords, forged by the kings of Hydn and handed to the heroes. Broko is certain that all the other heroes have died at the hands of Clevitus, and Alicia only escaped by abandoning her comrades. He asks Alicia where her weapon is, and where the weapons of the 12 other despawned heroes are. As Alicia refuses to answer, Broko orders Dagon and Satch to take her to Clevitus's base in order to search for the treasures. Dagon suggests that it might be better if they take Alicia to retrieve another treasure that's already on their radar, but Broko insists on sticking to the original plan. He also tells both Dagon and Satch to feel free to get some exercise with Alicia before leaving to make sure she doesn't cause any trouble during the journey. Meanwhile, Clen is working as a waiter at the bandits in run by Carm. Many bandits try to make a move on Carm, and Clen, noticing it, can only wonder how awful these people truly are. On the other hand, Neru is feeding Luna with the milk Luna's dad forgot to bring home. Neru has other responsibilities too, as she also works as a waiter here and gets abused by the customers who are all bandits. Clen obediently and patiently serves meat to the bandits, and many of them are impressed by his service. Carm, however, feels something unsettling. Everyone here assumes Clen is an orc because of his horns, but his skin is too pale, and his eyes look like the eyes of a killer. Two bandits start picking on Neru and drag her away to run a few rounds with her. They go at it all night and leave the poor girl covered in wounds and bruises. She doesn't complain though, and once they're done, she quietly returns to the inn to nurse Luna. The two bandits who tortured Neru suddenly begin to feel weak and dizzy, and they are literally erased from this world, when Clen reveals that he was behind it, delivering justice for poor Neru. Neru walks there to feed Luna and finds Luna in Clen's hands. She doesn't know what he has done to the two men that molested her, and she is just interested in feeding the child again. She carries Luna and takes him to a shed to feed him. Clen sits with her and asks her to tell him about her. He wonders if she is also part of the Crows and what they do. She tries to pause to explain, but he asks her to continue and just talk. He is only curious about her, and it is nothing. She reveals that she had always grown in that place. Her only identity is that she is a member of the Crows. She never had a father in her life, and all she had was a mother. However, while she was a child, she never saw her mother's face, just her back. But she knew her mother was a slave because she sneaked and watched to see how men molested her mother and had intimacy with her. However, when she was 12, her mother disappeared. She didn't know if her mother died or ran away. All she knew was that on that said evening, she was eating her meal when some of the men came to meet her and hit her. For the next few years, her life was miserable. She realized that it was her mother who had been protecting her. They beat her every day and she eventually had to live like livestock. Until she met Sis Karm. Karm told her that she could satisfy the men, and if she did satisfy them, they would forget about maltreating her and get satisfied with themselves. She decided to follow Karm that night, and she learned how to satisfy men. Although she cannot be like Karm, she knew that life got better. At least now she has work, and she can also feed her children because of her excess milk, so she is satisfied too. Klen wonders why she has breast milk when she has no child. She reveals to him that she was pregnant, but she had a stillbirth. Her child was moving in her womb and that gave her reasons to live until suddenly the child came out dead. When the midwives told her the child was dead, she could see herself sinking into a cold world. She assumed that she was going to die too, and to be honest, she was fine with it. She didn't see any reason she should continue living and assumed that if she died, she would reunite with her child. However, she suddenly started feeling warm. Her eyes opened to life again, and she saw a child of about 6 months old sucking her breast milk. She was satisfied, seeing that the child was struggling to live and could depend on her, so she carried the child and fed him. That gave her a new reason to live. She fed the child until he grew, and several other children came to the crows and she fed them too. Seeing them live because of her is enough to make her happy and satisfied. She reveals that she had also attempted to have her kids twice, but it didn't work out for her. Klen is tired of hearing all of these. He asks her to stop and asks if she will follow him as Luna's wet nurse. He insists that he has no intention of taking her, but he doesn't have a reason not to take her too, and since Luna likes her it will be a win for him. Luna taps her body as if she wants her with them. Klen gives Neru the option again. Does she want to follow him as Luna's wet nanny, or she will remain there and allow those scumbags use her as they want? She indeed knows that it is a great offer. However, it would be short-sighted for her to accept it since he is also a slave, at least to the best of her knowledge. She tells him that she wishes otherwise, but she wouldn't be able to follow him. Her reason being that he is also a slave and she has other children that she will love to feed and give hope of survival. She gives him Luna and leaves. On the other hand, the gang takes Alicia to a bridge and tells her to walk. When she gets to the middle of the bridge, she stops and looks down. They assume that she wants to jump down and tell her that there is no way she will survive that jump. She is looking at the river in front of her. Instead, she can see gems inside the river and she knows what it is. Before she could say what she thought, they told her that it was the river that the legendary hero Cord died. She knows it too. Right there, one of the slaves challenges that he will enter the river and if he brings what they want, they will release him and his wife. His wife urged him to go, reminding the scumbags that they must release them. However, by the time he jumps into the river, monsters come and eat him up. Alicia knew those gangs weren't going to release him. That place is LB Shaft. It has several monsters that had entered the world 300 years ago because of a flood, and his sword, Arvensis, is inside that river, so they wanted someone who could bring the sword out. However, it is impossible. She calls them scumbags because they knew the boy would die and they didn't even tie his rope well. They remind her she isn't there to give them advice, and the man who will beat her is right in front of her. She looks at the horrible man, Fito, who jumps onto her bridge to fight her. He imagines himself removing her clothes and says he will strip her of her clothes. Before he gets closer to her, she breaks one of her hands and takes the sword from him. Then she cuts off the rope on the bridge and jumps down the bridge. She talks to herself about how she is trusting Klen's words that she would not die as she falls down the bridge. Will she survive?